Okay, this is Joe Hildebrand. It's February 16th, 2016, and I'm interviewing Barbara Mack on her time at the Keith School. Could you spell your name for me?
Whole name?
Yes.
B-A-R-B-A-R-A. And then I was Ensley when I went to Keith School, E-N-S-L-E-Y. Last name is Mack, M-A-C-K.
Okay. Were you born here in Indiana?
No. I was born in Dayton, Ohio in 1946, and we moved to Indiana in August of 46 when my dad got a job teaching at IUP.
Okay. And you've lived here in Indiana since then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I had an older brother who also went to Key School. He was about 10 years older than I am, and then I had an older sister who went to Key School also, and she's 4 years older than I am. So I'm the baby.
Okay. What do you remember? What years you attended Keith School?
It would have been probably in 1951. I went to kindergarten there, so I was 5. And then we graduated in 62 at the end of 10th grade. Key School only went from kindergarten to 10th grade when I went there.
Okay.
It never did 11th and 12th. You had to go over to the high school for 11th and 12th.
Why did your parents have you attend Keith School?
I'm not sure, but I think the biggest reason is because my dad taught at IUP, and then our vacations and holidays would be the same. I'm guessing.
Do you remember any of the teachers, what it was like with the student teachers, or?
We had student teachers. We had 4 student teachers for every single subject, grades 7 through 10. Like 4 for history, 4 for English, 4 for math, because that's what it was. It was a lab school. And in the elementary part too, we had probably 3 or 4 student teachers then too. So when I went to the high school, I was sort of like, wow, we have the same teacher the whole time. I was so used to student teachers, but yeah.
Okay. What were the classes like?
Well, there was probably about 40 kids in my class, and they divided into 2. So we never had more than like 18, 20 kids in a class, at least my year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I don't know, I think we moved along a lot faster with having those smaller classes, because when I went to the high school in 11th grade, almost everything I took in 11th grade I'd already had in 10th grade at Key School.
Okay.
So I think they moved us along a little faster.
Okay. Do you remember any kind of social activities or anything?
Well, we had basketball games, of course, and we didn't have a whole lot. They had no sports for girls back then. But we had boys' basketball games, and I'm trying to think. I don't think we had any other sports, because we wouldn't have had baseball. There wasn't enough kids.
Mm-hmm.
Just a band?
There was a band, and I guess it was just a band, yeah. And then, of course, they had cheerleaders, and they had majorettes and all that kind of stuff, too. But I think we only had the one sport, really, when I was there. And I don't think we even had dances there, except in 10th grade, when we graduated from Key School, they had like a big graduation. You had a yearbook. It was just like you were graduating from high school, but we did it in 10th grade instead. And so that was a big deal then, too.
Okay. Do you remember any kind of specific events that took place while you were attending school there?
No. Other than things we could go up to the college and go to, They did have these things, they were called the Nickerty-Knockerty Players, and they used to go up to Fisher Auditorium. It was a traveling show, and so the kids at Key School were allowed to go up there, and I don't even remember how often they came around, but it was an outside group that traveled, and they came in, so we went to that. And back when I was there, we used to have Bible school And Wednesday mornings, you went to your church and had Bible school before you came to Key School. And it was every denomination. Like I was Methodist, so we went to Methodist church, but the Catholics went to Catholic, Presbyterians went to, and you had Bible school for an hour before school, and then you went back to the school. And they don't do any of that now, but back then they did.
Yeah. Do you remember any specific historical events that took place? Any?
Back in the 50s? And 60s? Ooh. Not that I can think of. I can't think of anything that was going on then. Not historical. We did have one big deal come. Jimmy Stewart, the actor, he came and visited our school one time, and we had a big deal. They had a big thing for him. But that was, I can't think of anything historical. Well, unless you count like the Indiana Hotel burning down and stuff like that. That was historical, I guess.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, because one of my classmates and I cut school so we could go watch the watch the hotel burn down. We stood across at the old courthouse on Philadelphia Street and watched the fire. That was about 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we got punished, and our punishment was, since the college was right there, we used to be able to go at lunchtime, go to the bookstore and get candy at lunchtime. Well, we weren't allowed to go to the bookstore for like 2 weeks or something. That was our punishment for taking off and going to watch the hotel burn down.
Was Paul Woodring still working at the bookstore then?
He probably was, but I don't remember him.
Okay.
I don't, because back then it was like underneath John Sutton Hall. It was like in the basement of John Sutton Hall. So he probably was, but as a kid I wouldn't remember him. No, I don't remember him. I mean, I remember him from when with your grandmother, but.
Yeah, they were. I know they said that the when the Indiana Hotel burned down, that was one of the coldest.
Oh, it was
days
terrible.
they had been.
And we were just amazed that all the icicles were hanging off the wires and everything. We thought it was great. I mean, we should never have cut out, but we did. Yeah, it was really cold. It was...
What stands out the most in your memory from the Keith School?
I guess our friends. We got really close. Well, when you're with that few kids for, 11 years, you get really close and tight with those kids. In fact, I'm still friends with some of them. And I've been out of school forever. So I think it's probably the friendships that you made and stuff throughout.
Whenever you went from Keith School to Indiana, what did you notice was the biggest difference?
No student teachers, for one thing, and classes, of course, a lot bigger. And we were just like the little fish in a big pond at the time, because there was only like 40 of us that went over there, and I think there was 307 in my high school class, so there was a big difference with that. And then I went to where the junior high is now. That was grades 7 through 12 at the time. I went there in 11th grade, and then 12th grade, I was the first class in the new high school. So then I went there. So I was in 3 different schools in 3 years, because I was Key School in 10th grade, and then the old high school in 11th grade, and then new high school in 12th grade. So the biggest thing was just the class sizes and just so many kids and different teachers. And because when we had teachers at Key School, you had the same teacher for history, grades 7 through 10, the same teacher for math, grades 7 through 10, the whole way through. But you had all the student teachers. But yeah, we had all the same teachers, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Now, at the Key School, did the student teachers do the majority of the teaching then, or? Pretty
much, yeah, because that's what they were there for. And yeah, they pretty much did all the. Yeah, I would say. I mean, they started out the first couple weeks, of course, the regular teacher did, and then it was like when I student taught, you have to wait a couple weeks, and then you get your feet wet, and you jump in, and you start teaching. And we had them just for a semester. And then the second semester, then you got another batch of student teachers. And back then, the semester wasn't over until almost the end of January. And then you went, then second semester started the end of January. We didn't quit before Christmas like they do now. And we were done at school like in May, mid-May. We were always done before the public schools.
So you were done about the same time the university was done.
Yeah,
then.
which is, was good because my dad taught up there. And so for us to go on any vacations, that's what it worked out real well for us.
Now, a lot of your classmates, were they also professors' kids, or?
No. Out of the 40 kids, maybe 10. No, most of them weren't. There were some that were, but no. I think you had to, back then, I think you had to sign up in advance to go to Key School. I don't know why I think that, but I think you had to sign up. Like, I can remember some of my friends saying, well, their parents had to sign them up when they were like 2 or 3 to be able to get into Key School. I don't know why, but I think that's what they had to do.
Was there an advantage to going to Keith School, or?
I thought there was, simply because it was smaller and we moved along and you got more attention. Because there were so many teachers, you got a lot more one-on-one with teachers.
Yeah, I know when Grandma said when she was there, she really enjoyed it, but when Aunt Jan was there later, she didn't get the same education.
Oh, really?
As what a lot of the other kids got.
We got, like I said, like in math and stuff, I had all, like, algebra 1, 2, 3, and 4, and solid and plane geometry and all this before I even got to 11th grade. So we could move along a lot faster, and I guess it's because we had more individualized help. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. They used to call us the Key School brats. That's okay. But when I went over to the high school and stuff, but I really enjoyed it. I really did. I'm glad I went to Key School.
Did any of your kids go to Keith or the university school? Okay.
No, Brian went to, of course, Tammy went to Ben Franklin. Brian went to Ben Franklin. So no.
How did over the years, from your time there and just over the years in general, how has the community changed around here?
Well, first of all, there isn't any Key School anymore, or university school. After I left, I think the next year it dropped to like 9th. I only went to 9th grade, and I think 2 or 3 years after I left, it went down to 6th grade. It was just K through 6, and for years, and it was called the university school then, and they even moved it down. Was that 11th Street on that hill? I don't know. I guess the community. I don't know how they saw us, just as part of the college. I don't know. I don't know how they saw us. I never thought about it.
What do you notice is the biggest difference in the community today as it was when you grew up? Not so much not so much about just the Key School, but in general.
I don't know. How's the community changed? I guess, I don't know how it's changed. I guess they still want education for the kids, but I don't think it seems to be as important nowadays as it was when I was in school. I don't know. I guess with some kids it is, but I don't know how it's really changed. I never thought about it.
Is there anything else that you can that you want to add to it, or?
Not really. I wish it was still around, but then again, because public school, I think now there's just kids don't have the respect that they used to have. I mean, even when I was teaching, when I first was teaching, there was a lot more respect than there is now. In fact, my granddaughter who teaches kindergarten told me it's a good thing I'm not still teaching because I'd probably be in jail because I'd probably kill somebody. Because there's just not the respect anymore that kids used to have towards education. You know, that's, I think, terrible. That there's no respect. There's no respect for authority, I think. That's the biggest thing. But I don't know. I'm just glad I'm retired.
Okay. I think that's just about everything. Okay.